Hello, guys. Welcome to the Podtel podcast. As you can see, today we are shooting at Grand Empire. We are actually partnering with them. They were gracious enough to give us this really nice place to shoot in. So, if you need to host your conferences, to have a nice lunch, to have chit chat with your girlies, this is the place. Good vibes, good energy, and yeah, overall, just a nice place to be. Today, I'm with my good friends.
Hi guys, my name is Shalom. I am a host here at Podtail Podcast.
Hi, my name is Cecilia. I am good friend number two, and I'm also a host here at Hotel.
Okay. Those are my girls. And today we're going to actually talk about breaking the menstrual stigma in honor of the Menstrual Health Month, which was last month. Yeah? Are you guys excited for today?
Sure.
Okay. So, overall, what do you guys expect from this conversation? Like,
I think number one is shedding. One thing that is very known about menstrual hygiene, awareness, health is silence. So breaking the silence around it is something I'm looking forward to and talking about it. I'm sure there's so much I'm going to learn from you guys. Nyinyi machupi.
period.
And I just want to talk about it and to break the shame and to break the taboo around it. Yeah.
Yeah. Shalom, do you have any expectations from today's conversation?
I feel like, as Cecilia said, to break the silence, stigma, and also there are things that we need to talk about, especially the mental health around mental health around
Menstrual.
menstrual. Yeah,
Health,
it's
yeah.
heavy. It's quite heavy. Yeah, so we need to talk about that.
Okay, that is very valid. So before we start this conversation, it's really important for us to like have a few concepts in mind. Like it's important to understand what menstrual health is and what menstrual hygiene is, because I think those two,
Yeah, we need to define them.
yeah, they're really intertwined, and I think you cannot talk about menstrual health without talking about the subset of menstrual hygiene. I think they go together. And yeah, I think we could start from a very simple place by defining what menstrual health is. Yeah.
Menstrual health is the physical, mental, and social well-being around your menstrual cycle. Yeah.
That's a very easy and on point
Yeah,
definition.
yeah,
I like it.
yeah, it's very simple and it's straight to the point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think whatever Shalom has explained, it's very accurate. And I think following that question, we could talk about menstrual cycle phases. Yeah. And what they mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we know from basic biology that it's broken down into four, and in the four comes with different. So we know our cycle takes 28 days, right? In those 28 days, there's so much that happens, a whirlwind that happens. So let's educate people on the four stages. The first stage usually starts on the first day, which is your period, where you experience your menses. You shed your uterine wall. That's when you are usually the soldier is down. At the time, the soldier is incapacitated.
Mayday,
Mayday! The soldier is down. So that's you're bleeding.
Then you're gonna bleed.
So that's the first day, right? That usually takes around 4 to 7 days, depending on each individual. And then from there, we move down to the follicular phase. The follicular phase is usually where you do most of your healing, and the follicular phase usually comes every time. I see the chart here, follicular. I see flowers. I see spring. I see you're most energetic. You're healing. You're recovering.
You're very creative.
Yeah,
even.
you're creative.
Yeah,
You're
your
like
mood is nice.
Yeah, you're
all
like
of a sudden you're nice.
to the gym. Everything about you is productive. You feel your best. These are days ukifanyanga makeup yako it down. Mkiwa na
Unajisikia mrembo
compliment
aje?
sana. Unaoga 2 hours. Everything about that time is usually the best time for your mental health.
Yeah.
And then from there we go to our ovulation, where now you're most fertile. You're time when your Nini has said it's time to look for a mate. Hello, you are of age.
Umekuwa msichana mkubwa sasa.
Umekuwa msichana mkubwa sasa. Tafuta mtu. And then the soldier is down again. But not for long.
Oh my
Not for long,
god.
because it gets worse from here. Hapa ndio inaanza kwenda downhill. Hapa ndio winter is coming.
Yeah.
So during your ovulation, of course, kuna hiyo part ya your body is releasing bonding hormones. So you want to bond with somebody, you want intimacy with someone, and then you don't get that, then unakasirika. Mimi nakwanga very irritable
When you're on your ovulation.
nimejaa
Like,
mbaya.
kuja nikukule lakini
Panda hiyo kitanda.
panda kitanda. Panda kitanda. Panda kitanda.
Nisikwambie mara mbili, nisikwambie twice, because ni kiboko. You know, I'm usually highly irritable, but I'm also usually very functional. Like I feel like I have my most masculine strength when I'm ovulating. So weird. Anyway, so from there is when we go to our last stage, which is the luteal phase, which is now your body preparing now for that shedding. Imesema huyu ametuangusha. Ovulation imekuja imeenda. Imejaa.
Kuna boy?
Winter imekuja.
Kuna boy?
They're like, kuna huyu. Why are you a woman?
I prepared the house.
I
built it.
built it brick by brick.
Then nothing.
Pure kapsa. So now that's the last stage, your luteal phase, where you go through your most deep in your mental health, and you're most susceptible to anxieties,
this is where you want to-
depressions. Yeah, because your body is almost bracing itself for something bad. And as a result, your brain also says, hey, kuna something
get
bad
honey.
happening. Yeah, something bad is about to happen. That's when you're a lady, you're like, you're craving sweet things because you want to feel better, because sugar boosts your serotonin. So you try to get sugar, and then you always know, nimekula chocolate tano alone today. Niko karibu kunyesha.
There's a day I actually ate 5 bars of chocolates and I was like, I'm a mess.
I'm a mess.
I am a mess.
And you already know why you're
I
a
am
mess.
a
You're like,
mess.
hey, let me look at my calendar. It tells you 3 days. 3 days. You know, you always know, because your
Yeah.
body will tell you. So that's usually the 4 phases. I've described them in a very Cecilia way. I'm sure Shalom had a more scientific explanation.
Okay, what I would like to talk about that Cecilia has not talked about ni the hormones.
Yeah.
Like in your menstrual,
See, scientific.
I'm smart. Like in your menstrual, in the menstrual cycle, Sinaanza na menstrual,
Yeah.
your estrogen is low and your progesterone is also low, and estrogen is linked to production of serotonin.
Yeah.
That's why hauna moods.
Yeah, and your serotonin is your feel good hormone.
Yeah, feel good hormones. Then in your follicular, estrogen starts to spike.
Hey.
Yeah.
Ndio maana
Ndio maana uko happy.
Summertime is
No,
here,
nasikia
you know.
vizuri. And then in your luteal, no, in your ovulation, estrogen is at its peak. That's why pure ovulation unasikianga vizuri, bado unang'ara. But then pure progesterone starts forming because your body pia ina prepare for a
Pregnancy.
baby, for pregnancy. So in luteal, estrogen starts to drop and progesterone starts to rise. But when you don't get pregnant, progesterone drops a lot, like ina drop significantly, and that's why during your luteal unasikia
suffer.
because that
Imekuangusha.
imeanguka haraka.
Umetoa from a high to
Kuja chini, yeah.
bure kabisa.
So I think that's all I would add to Cecilia's. Otherwise, her explanation is just on point.
Yeah. And I love that your explanations are both very comprehensive. It's really easy to understand, yeah? You guys are doing good. You're doing good. So I don't know if I think you've also covered the question of how hormonal shifts of how these hormonal shifts affect your mental health and your emotional health, where you like tend to cry a lot, you tend to get really depressed, or you tend to
Be
I
really
don't know.
happy.
Yeah. Then can you also talk about how in some people these hormonal imbalances and these hormonal shifts are really serious, where they really get into very, very, very deep depressions.
Yeah.
Some even don't come out of it. They like commit suicide.
Yeah, I think when we talk about our reproductive functions separate from the fact that we are individuals with personalities, on top of that is when we will not understand the shift. If somebody is naturally more neurotic, which is prone to more negative emotion, and then add luteal on top of that, that is deadly combos for such a person. They will catastrophize every single thing that happens to them. So you have to understand somebody's environment. If somebody has gone through trauma, their personality is just, they're more feeling than anything else. They have more empathy. Such a person when luteal phase comes around and their estrogen drops and their progesterone also drops simultaneously, it really combines with the fact that they've gone through so much already, so it becomes really bad. It's so bad. So for them, they have to be really on point with their uh, reproductive health and menstrual health to know my luteal phase comes with a lot of things. They have to be on top of it all the time and not to allow it to contribute to how they feel. So, which is like a whole other world. Me na nastukianga tu ni you just arrived. How they have to prepare themselves. You know, I'm about to go through a dip, but it's not because I've done anything wrong. It's not because there's something bad with me. It's just this. My estrogen has dropped. My progesterone has also dropped. So it's okay, Cecilia. You can survive.
And that is why I think it's really important to like have somebody in your corner, a really supportive person, because you can't tell me that you go through these really depressive funks time, like every month, time after time after time. You already, I mean, by now you're already familiar with the game, yeah.
Yeah.
But every time
So
hauna mtu mwenye like
Anakusaidia.
anakusupport
Yeah.
during this time. That is why even if it's a boyfriend, you need an understanding boyfriend.
Yeah.
If it's your brother, that's why kwa campaigns we're teaching boys and girls,
girls.
like we're sensitizing both genders in
Yeah.
order for them to be familiar with how these things run, yeah.
Shalom and I share a mutual friend who is like that. She's naturally very neurotic, but her neuroticism isn't a bad thing because it helps her with her. She can clock when you're not okay, right? But then when she's in her luteal, she didn't okay. I just want to die. But like, ukaribu kunyesha wewe. Check calendar now.
I also think when you're having such instances, it's really important to have those period tracking apps.
Yes.
Because when you're ovulating, it's gonna ask you, wapi mtu?
Yeah.
Wapi mtu?
It'll tell you, or it'll give you your like a heads
It's like
up,
a reminder.
Yeah. It'll tell you you're 2 days from your ovulation. Then
Yeah.
you know, oh, that's why I'm irritable.
Yeah, if you're going into your luteal
Yes.
first, it's gonna itakwambia like look for support, look
Hydrate,
for somebody to talk to,
touch grass.
hydrate, exactly, things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's really important to have those ISO apps in there. It's really important. So I think we could close on that topic about understanding menstrual health and move on to the next thing, which is period poverty and accessibility. So what is period poverty?
Let's pass to
Period
Madam
poverty.
Madam Smart.
Wow.
Madam
think-
definition.
When I think about period poverty, I think about people lacking the what do you call them, pads,
Utilities.
like the utilities during their menstrual cycle. Yeah, I think that's period poverty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
Celia, do you
And
have
when-
any other opinion?
I think I share the same opinion, but beyond that, beyond just the utilities, it's also the education behind it.
Exactly.
So they lack
lacking the awareness.
the awareness. So it's catastrophic for them because now something happens to you, you have no education and you have nothing to help you.
Poverty of the mind and poverty
poverty
of the pocket.
Yes.
Exactly. So when you talk about period poverty and accessibility to these utilities, how does period poverty affect education, work, and dignity?
Yeah.
In your opinions?
I think because I have shared my work here before. I am an activist. I work for an anti-FGM, and FGM usually happens in areas that generally also have period poverty a lot. And one of the things that I can talk about, especially, is about the dignity and how it affects the dignity. Because in as much as yes, they don't go to school and everything, when you are younger, it's easier to just be like, I can cope. But the older you grow and the more you become a woman, when something like this incapacitates you from moving and you feel dirty and you feel shame, there's a part of them that feels like therefore they deserve ill treatment because hata ona mimi ni mchafu mimi ni unajua they feel like because they go through such seasons then if a man who's offering them bare minimum they're like unja alinikubali na
Nilikuwa nanyesha
haki
alinisaidia sana.
Exactly. It affects their dignity and how they view themselves. It's so bad, especially for those who are like in their 20s. It's quite bad because they have to stay home, and when they stay home, usually unaona kwa boma kuna a bunch of women kwa boma. You just know
Wananyesha wote. That's messed up.
Yeah.
That is really messed up. Okay, so before we move on to Shalom, I think I'd like to give my 2 cents about how it affects education. You see, the other day when we were going on our campaign with Nesting for Hope to Kerio Valley, I couldn't stop thinking about how, let's say, a girl in grade 6 aanze kuwa na cramps. And then nobody around them really understands what cramps are. Hata yeye mwenyewe.
Yeah.
So she keeps saying naumwa na tumbo. Anaenda anaambia mwalimu and maybe mwalimu ako dismissive. Nini. Ama namwambia enda ulale. So wenzako wako class wanasoma science na agriculture na wewe umeenda kulala kwa sababu unaumwa na cramps, when ungetuma kwa nurse, ungeenda upewe painkillers na urudi class.
And not just
utulie,
painkillers,
you know?
adequate painkillers.
Adequate painkillers. Si
usipewe
brufen
tu-
moja.
ama upewe tu paracetamol and then you're like mimi nisaidii.
I think it's important to also identify the kind of painkillers that really work for period cramps.
Yeah.
Let's say when you take Panadol, trust me, you will suffer.
Kwanza, there's a
You
time-
will suffer for hours and hours.
There's a girl who did this whole thing on her Instagram stories.
Yeah.
I forget her name. And she talked about how each painkiller affects your blood. And I learned that mara moja thins your blood. Because it has aspirin. So avoid vitu za aspirin. I was like, mimi na mara moja tuko tight.
Same, but I mean,
Right.
I don't know if there are any safer options. But I mean, apart from Maramoja, you're free to use Brufen.
Yeah.
And then Brufen, you can't use it when you have ulcers. If you can't use
STDs.
Brufen, you can't use Maramoja. You can use Buscopan. But then Buscopan is a really strong painkiller.
Yep.
You will just be
Sleep.
exhausted. You'll need
And
to
you'll
go
overeat.
to sleep. And you will overeat.
Because you're
So
tired.
I don't know. I feel like it's also important to categorize those kinds of drugs and how they affect your body,
yeah.
and at least determine what's the safer option. Because
Yeah.
I mean, we can't suffer.
We can't suffer.
Yeah, so you have to like.
Kwanza
identify
mimi
what the
sielewangi wale
safer
madem.
option is.
Excuse me, if you're a girl in this audience and usually say things like, I don't take meds.
Do not glorify suffering.
Yes.
Do not glorify suffering.
Yo,
It's not
hey,
cute.
it's not cute.
It is not cute.
Because ati mimi lazima ati naikuwa uchungu sana ndo nimeze. Babe, bado hujameza.
Chungu. Anataka lale kwa floor hivi.
Hey.
Hapo chini kwanza.
Basi bado itakuwa mbaya. Girl, bye. Girl, bye. Mbona kupata kwa nyumba uko in fetal position alafu itakuwa
Na
mbaya.
uko na painkiller mbili mara moja hapo.
Na
At
tena,
least
ujienda
meza
na
mara
job.
moja.
Look at you.
Meza mara moja.
Tell her text, I'm going to die. Hey, madem hiyo wananiuanga. They finish my energy. Anyway, back to period poverty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was
Me?
back to you, yeah.
Okay, for me, when I think about period poverty, I think about the health issues surrounding it. Like I was listening to the radio.
Mluya.
Shalom Nafula.
So
Mami.
the women who are saying that they use blankets.
They cut blankets.
Yeah, they cut blankets. And then she was also saying that hata akipata kitamba yoyote, hata ka si safi, bora tu ni kitamba. And I was so sad because I was thinking about toxic shock syndrome. Yeah.
Which is?
Okay.
Explain.
You see,
to
when
me.
you stay with a pad for too long, ama ukitumia something dirty, blood has like germs and a lot of things. Like ikaa hapo it's a biohazard. Your body goes into shock. Yeah. So I was thinking, for me, period poverty, I think about that. Like they are prone to getting toxic shock syndrome. Like you can actually die from toxic shock syndrome. It's lethal. So I think that's what I think. That's what concerns me most
Yeah.
about period poverty.
That it can lead to their death.
Yeah, it can lead to their death.
crazy. Okay, with the mention of these, I don't know, like lacking utilities, I can't stop thinking of a time when I would watch the news. I think it was Kitambo when they used to highlight whatever was happening in Northern Kenya, Eastern Kenya. Hizo times I think ndio Uhuru alikuwa ameingia presidency, so they were flagging off utilities to go to these disadvantaged areas. And then like, I don't know, it's really sad the state of those sides, because tell me why a girl would say ati her mom amemtengenezea something like a pad but imetengenezwa na ngozi ya goats. imetengenezwa na ngozi ya goat, hiyo ndo
I
anatumia.
remember.
So it's not even absorbent, it's not clean,
Yeah,
it's not clean, it's not absorbent, it's not comfortable because it's animal hide, iko na manywele and so, I don't know, it was
Na
just
wale
a
wa
really
shimo?
sad situation.
Na wale wa shimo,
Oh,
wale
unatoboa shimo chini unakaa.
unachimba chini
Oh,
unakaa the whole day. That's
oh,
your sports.
no.
That's your sports.
And then also think about like in those places hakuna maji. So like during your period umeoga mara ngapi? So there's
Na
a lot,
lazima ujiende maji yako.
lazima ujiendee and uko na cramps inakuuma like so crazy.
Ama wenye kuna heavy flows,
Hauna access to water, hauna access to pads
utilities,
and everything.
na uko na bad
Na uko na
education.
bad
Then you are
education.
feeling indignified.
Yeah.
You're feeling less of a human being.
Yeah, I'm so sad.
I know.
I know it's saddening.
It's so saddening.
I'm really sad. Okay, that is so sad. And then unapata kwa like era kama hii, we still have such kinds of problems. We have period poverty and tuko na female MPs in parliament. They don't even, I've never heard anybody mention anything about empowering women, actually empowering women
Yeah.
in northern Kenya, in marginalized communities.
Yeah.
Unaona, I've never
Kwanza-
heard those people mention that. Kazi ni kusema tu, unajua mimi ni senator huko Nairobi. Nakunda billboards, especially that lady mwenye alikuwa ana champion so much hadi aka free bleed. See, ali free bleed onto her clothes and then she
Yeah.
went into parliament.
Yeah.
And then you can't even like afford to take a pack of pads to girls in.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like our system is really failing us, and it's literally just upon us because we clearly cannot depend on our leaders to like take initiative or anything. So if we don't do it, I mean, I don't know. I feel like we'll be heading to a very dark place, and it's in 25. Every girl needs to have access to clean water, access to good education, access to good hygiene, access to, I don't know.
Sanitary.
Girls just deserve good things. All the good things. All the good things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Soft life to all the ladies.
Yeah.
If I could, I would literally give all the girls a soft life. You wouldn't lack anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, here we are.
Here we are.
It's very sad. Yeah. So I would like for us to talk about initiatives that exist or initiatives that are lacking in our country when it comes to tackling issues of menstrual health and menstrual hygiene.
Let me start with something that's lacking. I feel like sanitary materials should be free because they give people condoms for free, and most of the time sex is a choice, but period is not a choice. Like this is how you were born. I saw in Japan in the washrooms. Sijaienda Japan. Niliona TikTok.
TV, hello. I saw in Japan through my phone.
So yeah, in the washrooms, there are pads, there are tampons, like kuna kila kitu. We unachagua yenye unataka. Imagine how good that would be. I feel like in Kenya that's something that's lacking. And have you ever like met a stranger kwa bathroom and they didn't have a pad and then you gave them a pad? Like the relief on their face, like they're so happy.
Hi, uko na pad?
Yes. Anafurahi.
Niko na hadi tatu, different sizes. What do you want?
Wewe unataka gari. Yeah, so that's what I
Yeah.
Oh, I think I would also like to like really emphasize kwa hiyo point ya sex is a choice, menstruation is mandatory, like ni lazima you go through this, you choose to have sex. So I don't see any reason why, not that I don't see any reason why, that would be a bit ignorant, but I feel like issues to do with menstruation should be given more priority compared to issues to do with choices you decide to make on your own. So yeah.
I think another initiative that should continue is about the education part of constantly talking about it and removing the silence around it, because we can give utilities and everything, which is a really good thing, but as long as there's still shame, there'll still be a problem. Yeah.
Speaking of shame and educating, I feel like it's really hard to break into that shell because it's a notion that's been instilled in people for a very long time, like since Kitambo. So you find that when you actually need to start doing the work and break the stigma, you have to start kutoka Kitambo. You start teaching the fathers of those girls, and then after teaching the fathers, you go teach their brothers. After teaching their brothers, you teach their male classmates, and then from una proceed hivi. But it's really hard to break into social social norms zenye zimekuwa upheld for so long, because I mean for very many years a woman akimenstruate anaonekana like she is so dirty. In the Bible, a woman on her period, you cannot get into the church. Yeah, kwa Muslims you cannot touch the Quran. Huku kwa easy customs and traditions, you can't go to shrines, you can't give sacrifices or whatever they used to do. So I feel like for every denomination they still do uphold a kind of stigma towards menstruation issues, which I feel like in order to break into those, we have to be ready to really do the work, like tuingie huko kwa bundu suko ndani and educate these people, to educate kila mtu, but it's gonna be really hard because I mean communities zingine they really do follow their customs very staunchly, that it's so hard to like break into it. It's possible, but it's very tricky. It's gonna be difficult. So yeah.
One thing I've learned through activism is it's easier to change forward than backward. So it's easier to say, okay, this is where we are at. Let's change moving forward. So tunasonga hivi kama tunabadilika. And those who are behind will see how far we have gone and be like, hey, okay,
Period.
okay.
That is very
They'll have to
insightful.
catch up.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I've been thinking about when it comes to period poverty and generally just all kinds of activism involving women's health is what happened in my family, especially for me, was my mom made transitioning to become a woman this beautiful thing. She over romanticized
you.
the process. She, from when I was like 8 or 9, I think my mom already started talking to me about it. So now it's something I looked forward to, nothing that I was going to be ashamed of. And so I think what we can do moving forward is women should embrace their femininity, knowing that this is part of our femininity. Our reproductive biology is not something to be ashamed of. And then now we can move forward with also romanticizing it for other people. So that now you're like, oh Nanyasha, good for you, not pregnant. Shika. Hey, you're not pregnant, good for you. Or changing it pole pole. In that way, if we talk to moms and moms have the tools to be able to talk to the children, because the time is just, you don't have the tools. You just don't know how to start this conversation with your child. You educate moms on how to their children. We'll have such a revolution, because now there'll be no shame. It'll be like, oh, I was expecting this to come. It didn't happen to me in class, nikashtuka. My mom already told me about it. My mom has been, the minute I clocked 10, I had a pad in my bag.
Me too.
Exactly. So you are expecting it. I think the shame comes with it's unexpected, and then it happens. You don't know what to do. People are laughing. It just becomes a traumatic instant immediately. But when it's something you're expecting, me, I went home excited. Mom, guess who's a woman? Me.
Me was expecting because hata mi nilikuwa educated on those things,
Yeah.
but I didn't know how a period is supposed to look like.
Oh, see,
Yeah, so like the first day when you've been talking, I've remembered like the first day I got my period. We used to live in Thika and tulikuwa tunatoka Western from my grandparents, so we stopped at Kapsabe to get snacks, blah blah blah. So me, I go to the washroom and I see brown. I wipe brown and I'm like, brown? Say nini?
I thought it was blood.
So many nilifikiria it's just something is
else,
nililenga for like 2 days, alafu unajua your period is coming in, iko shy, like haikuji sana, so mi naona too brown for the rest of the days, and I'm like, I don't think this is a period. Now, when we went back to school, like on Monday, when you're starting a new school year, unajua you're moving classes, hauna time ya kwenda washroom sana. Teachers wanaangalia homework kama ulifanya nini nini. So when I finally got up, my classmate aliniona, a boy, and then I'll never forget his name. He was called Dennis.
Dennis, shout out to you.
Dennis aliniambia, check your skirt. And I was like, check my skirt, nigga.
What side?
What's wrong with you? So many nilisema, let me just go to the toilet and see. On my way to the washroom, I met a friend of mine. She was younger than me. Alikuwa class 6, me class 7. So she came and hugged me from the back and she told me, Shalom, you have a stain on your skirt. Na nikapanic, akaniambia no, usijali. Enda toilet, I'm coming with a pad. Literally. So mi sikuwa najua itakuwa brown. Mi nilikuwa na expect, unavyo unakatanga a vein. Alafu ina drip. That was my expectation. So,
wait, yeah. Mko class 7. Kwani mimi ni God's strongest soldier.
Ulianza ukiwa class 5.
That was tough. But my experience with starting my menses, I actually started my menses really late. I started my menses when I was 17 in form 3.
Must be nice. Yeah, you had
exactly. So tulikuwa na watu wamekuja shule, wamesha to explain, you know, when you start your period it's gonna look like this and this and this and this. So one day when I was in form 3, I also saw brown discharge. I think, I don't know where it comes from. Why is it brown?
It's your first uterine shed.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, nikaona brown nini, and I said I suspect this might be my period, so let me wait it out. So I waited it out for like 2 days, and then now I started kunyesha properly, but it was a freaking roller coaster from there. Because I mean, sasa mimi nimekuwa mkubwa, but then I'm still new to cramping. I'm new to having extreme mood swings. One time you're so happy and then another time you're really mad. So I don't know. Sasa unafikiria mimi ni mkubwa hivi, ni kama ina act like some kind of identity crisis, because you don't know how to relate with this thing that you're expected to be familiar with. You know, unajua theory but ujui practical. Exactly.
Paper 3.
You know, ujui paper 3. I'll do paper 3. So it was really hard for me to like navigate around familiarizing myself with those symptoms and actually being comfortable in my body enough to be open about my period to my mom. Nilimwambianga nikiwa form 4 huko juu sasa, I mean, sikuwa najua sikuwa najua ni expect leo this month, because when you're starting your period it's irregular. Inaweza kuja this month, next month haikuji, ile ingine haikuji, alafu ikuje consecutively and then you skip nini. So that's what I was saying. Starting my period really late puts me at a very high disadvantage of not really knowing how to familiarize myself with what I already knew but I had yet experienced, you know. So yeah, that was just my experience overall. So yeah, I think it's important that we've covered that aspect, and we've actually tumetoa personal stories. I feel like sasa hivyo ina feel more relatable. So, yeah, I'm happy for us.
We have our menses too.
Not lady. Okay. So yeah, we've talked about education as an initiative and providing utilities as an initiative. Okay, I think that is they're just two sides of the same coin. You have to, while you provide utilities, you still have to educate on how to use the same utilities. Yeah. Okay. So I think we can move on to probing into the issue of cultural taboos and stigma.
Yeah.
This is gonna be very sensitive.
I know.
This is gonna be very sensitive. So I think we can start by exploring how different cultures treat menstruation.
I think kenye hurts me the most personally is that menstruation is usually it usually marks the time for you to be married. So I started my menstruation when I was 11. In particular cultures, I'd be ready for marriage. Very ripe for marriage. I can have children, you know.
Yeah.
And I want to remove that stigma. And that mindset that her starting her menstruation is the process of womanhood and not ultimate womanhood.
Yeah, it's just a process.
Yeah, she still has so much to grow. Just because her biology says one thing doesn't mean her brain is the same. Doesn't mean her everything else is on the same. Hey, unlearn this behavior because I see it so much in my work. I'd meet somebody, she has a child. I ask her how old is she? She's 15. I'm like, huh? She's like, nilipata damu ya mwezi nikapeanwa. And I'm like, yeah,
it's so
she's
sad.
like, I'm like, you don't feel like you're missing out on life? She's like, no, I'm a woman.
Wow.
And I'm like, so am I. I just need
Imekuwa ingrained into their brain.
So part of our education has to be menstruation is not equivalent to ripe for marriage.
Yeah. I think a stigma is men should not know. Because I remember when we were in primary, our teachers walikuwa na Twitter, then they tell us if you're having your period, ni hash hash.
Yeah.
If you want to go change, ficha pad, mtu asione. Like hata pad ingeanguka class. Oh my god. Kwanza kama uko na socialize. Guys, I know. So wanapiga nduru wanashanga ni nini.
I remember in our class, boys used to steal girls' snacks. And so what girls started doing is putting pads next to your snacks in the bag. Oh, so boy anafunga hivyo anapata na pad. Anaichukua
pad disgusted. Yeah. After there's a day, I had a conversation with some men and I asked them, would you buy pads for your girlfriend? And then one of them was like, unaona hafai kununua hizo vitu. And now I told him, you know what, I can call my dad nimwambie aniletee pads. Sasa wewe ni nani unaniambia wanaume hawafai kufanya hizo vitu? So kuna hiyo stigma periods, men should not know about it. I think ina encourage shame. So we should deconstruct that. Na tutembe na pads kwa mkono. It happens, ni kawaida.
Akina Mkuru did a episode of them opening up a pad. They've never seen a pad in the bag. Like,
what a wonder.
Wanaambiwa
she's the same thing I was telling those kids in Valley, and they're like wings.
And that's what we're telling kids that he's grown adults. We should have the guys who are reported.
That should have been so interesting. I should watch it.
Yeah, we should have the guys who are reported.
Okay, anyways, another stigma that personally I aim to get rid of, it's this notion about uncleanliness. Man, I don't understand how the moment I start my period, the moment I actually enter womanhood, all of a sudden I become so unclean. So what am I useful for if I'm unclean? You know, I actually believe in spirituality that promotes the notion that a woman is a source of life. A woman is a sign of purity, a sign of strong spirituality and whatever. So, you know, when you get your period, it's like you're tapping into your power. You know, kitambo, men used to go sleep with, you know, I feel like societies za kitambo, they were actually matriarchal instead of patriarchal. Societies were really held up by women. They actually respected women and whatnot. So women were sacred, you know. So before men went into war and stuff like that, they would seek permission to like sleep with a woman on her periods just to like get siku gain superpower per se, but it's just to feed from that fountain, you know. So you need to like enrich yourself with something, you know. It used to be like that. So I wonder where the disconnect came from, to a point where I'm told that if I'm on my period, I'm very dirty.
Yeah.
I'm very unclean.
Yeah.
I can't even, in some communities, you can't even eat from the same plate
Yeah.
as the boys when you're on your
I know
period.
that community.
Me too. Me too, girl. Do you? Yeah, I know. I
We'll
know.
tell you the
I
tea.
know.
Let's see.
We'll give you the tea later. You know? So I feel like such notions are really unfair, and I feel like it's just upholding the patriarchy. Let me just say it.
And it's very
It's really
dehumanizing.
upholding the patriarchy, and you'd find that in most communities, it's our moms telling us that. It's our, because I mean, ukifika teenage, see now your mom starts paying extra attention to you because I mean anything could happen.
Yeah.
Unaweza shikwa hivi na kijana na ushike mimba. Be careful. Chunga wewe. Chunga sana.
Usicheze na boys.
Unajua unaweza enda ukacheza na boys ukapata mimba, so your mom is actually paying extra attention to you, and
it's the wrong kind of attention.
It's the wrong kind of attention because they're instilling the wrong things into your head.
Yeah.
Ati when you're in your period usikae karibu na dadi, hata chakula sister yako mdogo ampelekee,
nikae karibu na moto because the germs might osmosize into the food.
Very cliche.
Very cliche. I'm wearing a pad, Nico, all the way here. How?
So germs?
No. I don't understand how it's unclean when there's no time in my cycle. I am more clean and more in tune with cleanliness when I'm on my period.
Exactly.
Because one, I don't want to get sick.
Yeah.
Beyond you guys. I don't want to get shocked.
You don't want to get shocked.
I don't want to stink. Yeah, so yeah, you're mean and boring your stigma and cleanliness.
Your notion, and cleanliness, I think it needs to go. It really needs to go. So my point here, it's our mothers upholding these things. I think patriarchy was introduced by men, but it is maintained by women who try to instill this very, I don't know. I just lack words. Nasikia hata hasira inapanda, by the way. Nasikia hasira inapanda because that is a bunch of crap, honestly.
Touch grass. Uko sawa. You're okay.
I feel like that is a bunch of crap, by the way. So, your notion, when a woman is on her period, she's totally unclean, needs to go.
Yeah.
Needs to go. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
I think we should also talk about how some meats are really harmful.
Meat.
Meat. Meat.
So
some meats are really harmful, but they still exist. Yeah, myths and misconceptions that are harmful, and they surround the topic of menstrual health.
Yeah.
And they are harmful and they still exist.
Yeah.
Can you talk about those, or are there any that exist?
I can't think of one at the top of my head. Any myths? I can't think of any.
Can you?
It's seen a myth, but I usually feel like this is a personal feeling. Like if I'm on my period, I tend to avoid my dogs.
Because they just sniff your coochie.
Your dog.
Yeah, and then I feel like maybe if the dog is violent, can attack me because I have blood. Yeah. Sijui kaya ni myth. That's something
But it's something that happens.
It does. Kuna watu wamewahi kuliwa.
We also have a dog at home, and when I'm on my period, it follows me around, and I'm like, please do not smell my kuchi tukombele watu.
Tabia mozo.
Tabia mbaya. Nani alikufunza hiyo tabia mbaya?
But is your dog male or female?
Male.
The one that follows you around is male. Oh. So if it's
Mine
a
is
female
a male
dog, female dogs are known for emotional regulation. Yes. So they can tell, they can tell uko sawa.
Na hiyo yangu inataka kuniambia panda kitanda.
Ananusha tu damu yako na is that meat or unanifichia chakula?
Nani uficha chakula ndani ya longi? Fungua longi. Fungua longi.
Tabia mozo.
Nani alikufunza tabia mbaya?
Your male dog is not thinking.
Oh my god. I mean, but I don't think that's a myth or a misconception. It's just part of the experience. Yeah, it's part of the experience. So yeah, I don't think there are any harmful
I think a myth
because I
myth.
think activists were people who like frequently champion for women's rights and rights of the girl child have done a really good job at putting a stop to these actions and practices that were imposed on
Yeah.
women who are on their periods. I think
Yeah.
they've actually done a
I don't
good
know if
job
mine
at
would be a
that.
myth. I don't think it's a myth. I think it's just a social expectation
Hmm.
that when a woman goes through her period, her father is supposed to be absent from this process. Her father is never, he's supposed to act oblivious. Like he doesn't even know, like it's like your father doesn't know this part happens. That is something that is also, because like the way you have said, like you can send your father for pads. My father ni wale
Mine
wa,
cannot.
my father acts
Atakuuliza
like,
umeruka kichwa. Akili yako wewe umetoka wazimu wewe. Oh, that is so cute. Ati copy always.
kuna siku I said outright ile I need money for to go buy pads. Akaniambia just tell me upkeep. Hizo videos zingine is just TMI. Sema tu ni upkeep. Wewe. Hey, I feel so
Okay.
embarrassed.
Thing is, with my dad, I don't think I've ever. I don't even know if he knows that
Exactly.
ladies are to me
Exactly.
apart.
Yes, he knows.
My dad is that kind of man.
Yet he knows. Yako na bibi
Toxic
yake.
masculinity.
Yako na bibi yake. No, it's the fact that society has taught him hiyo ni kazi ya mama. Hiyo ni kazi ya mama. So he never, like he's so oblivious.
There's a
about the
time I
thing.
told him, dad, mi ni msick. Akaniuza wapi? Kambia kinauma na cramps. Cramps ni nini? He was
Alafu,
like, my
unashindwa
nigga, I'm
kumexplainia.
in pain. Sasa hata siwezi anza kukuexplainia saa hizi.
Baba wangu hata hajuangi hizo lugha. Baba wangu akiwa nje niko hivi kwa bed. Anaenda kupack tu. Anaenda down.
I have something to say. In the Kikuyu culture, Kitambo, when a girl got her period, the father was informed and then they would slaughter a goat in honor for her getting her first period.
Oh.
So I feel like sijui kama sahi komi sijui sana, but I feel like in that kama ilikuwa Kitambo and they did that, I feel like they were not ready for marriage really.
They just
Like
honor it. They honor the
honor,
process.
like at least ilikuwa hakukuwa na lot of shame around it.
Yeah.
Because if you get your period ilikuwa you go tell your mom tells your dad you've gotten your period, wanakufanyia sherehe.
Yeah.
Because you're a woman
Yeah.
right now. Yeah.
I think Kitambo.
Kulikuwa na Muratina.
Wewe. I think Kitambo, they really had proper rites of passage.
Yeah.
And they honored hizo rites of passage. So for boys yao walikuwa wanapelekwa kwa chondoni, wanafanya maneno yao, wanapewa sherehe yao. Because girls didn't have your communal needs, it was the job of your father to celebrate it. So they always acknowledged hizo rites of passage. Yeah. We should bring it back.
We should bring it back.
Yeah, we should bring it
Tunaweza
back.
piga sherehe, damn it.
Because I think an essential part of your rites of passage was now explaining to a little girl what womanhood is and explaining to a young man what manhood is. And that is essential because when they don't know, unapata big babies. Mtu bado analia mami, wewe ni mwanaume.
Nini? Huyo mama ananyonyesha mtoto wake wa 5 years.
Hey!
5 years.
Unataka kuita kwa baba, unataka kuita na jina yako nani? Unaambiwa you need to go and kill and you need to bring food to your mom, provide for your sister, men provide for their homes and vitu kama hizo. Those things are important for young men. Now of course they are being supported through it. Si kama tena hizi unaacha tu unaambiwa
Enda shika ile simba. Enda shika ile simba.
Si kama hizi unaambiwa you need to provide and no, there's no support system around it. So hizo rights of passage, me I'm a huge advocate for bring it back. Toa the extras zenye ni outdated but bring it back.
Yeah, section ya culture imetuguza sana. Imetushika.
Hapo kwa Muratina.
Unaweza wa embarrass guys.
Ratish.
So I think tukitaka tuko close on this topic here, cultural taboos and stigmas, we could talk about what kind of impact shame and silence around these issues has on our communities, our boys, our girls, our moms, our dads, and hata sisi wenyewe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I think when I talk about how it affects the boys and the girls, it's because now they don't even know how to care for the women. They don't know. They don't understand the cycle and what happens to your hormones and to your mind and all of this, and so they become extremely insensitive to what you go through, and therefore there's always a tension between those two.
You have to tussle,
Yeah, you have to tussle
making
all the
them
time,
understand
making them.
what
Or
you're going through.
now in the past, there's silence. You can't tell them what you're going through, right? So they just you are quiet. You can't explain that I'm going through my cycle. I'm in my luteal phase. You can't say that. And then him,
You
he's
don't
like,
even know you're in your luteal
you don't even
phase.
know you're in your
That's the
luteal,
thing.
right? And then him, he's just like, "Pika chakula."
We, takula kibare.
Hey, nakupiga kidondi. Yeah, so it affected the relationship between boys and girls in general, or men and women in general, because now men became insensitive and women are just like, men are idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That is very, very insightful.
Talk to us about the silence. Shalom.
Silence.
Yeah.
I feel like silence ina bring shame. Alafu, let me talk about like in primary school when you're getting your period and then you're told you're not supposed to tell anyone ati hiyo ni siri yako.
Yeah.
And then the constant fear of umestain nguo, maybe hata hujastain lakini kuna
Kuna mkanga TV unasema niangalie.
niangalie, alafu unaambiana polepole, yeah, unaambiana polepole juu taki boys wasikie. So there's a lot of shame in that end. My desk mate in primary, she used to have like very heavy flow. Hadi kuna a point she was telling me hakuji shule because she's so scared because every time she comes to school she stains. So akona that fear in her, so hataki kuja shule, and she never used to come to school for like 3 days every month hakuji. So I feel like silence inaleta a lot of shame. You don't even know how to handle it, sindio?
So, I mean, I feel like that question is a bit personal to me because I couldn't imagine. I'm 24 right now. I couldn't imagine at 24 I would feel so ashamed about my period because tell me why. This one time I was really sick. Like I was so sick. Nilikuwa tu nimelala in bed. I had a roommate then. So I knew I was about to start my period, but I didn't know I was gonna start my period on that day. So when I woke up in the morning, I had definitely stained the bed sheets. They are my bed sheets. It's my bed. And my roommate is like, wow, 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 crime scene. Crime scene.
Crime scene is crazy.
I was so embarrassed.
Crime scene is crazy.
I kept telling her, like, don't say that. That's really mean.
Crime scene is insane.
That was really mean.
Very mean.
So I wake up in the morning and I
sorry.
clean up. I take the bed sheets off. I go to the bathroom. I take a shower. Nini. Yeah, I think nikirudi kwa room nilipata ametoka. When she comes back, guess the first questions. Umesafisha crime scene. I was like, my nigga,
I'm
that
moving out
is so
tomorrow.
mean. Aki, I was so embarrassed. I don't remember feeling that embarrassed like tangu nianze ku have my period. It's very rare ni stain my clothes or anything, but I cannot stop feeling the emotions. Like I was on the verge of tears.
Yeah.
I was about to cry.
Yeah,
And then I was like, mama mkubwa kama mimi, hey man, if I can feel the same, I can only imagine what those 14-year-olds who have minimal emotional intelligence and emotional tolerance wanna feel aje,
Yeah.
So I don't know, we just need to talk about these things and eliminate the shame and sensitize people. Do not shame your friend.
Yeah.
Sasa crime scene ilitoka buda.
Hata hiyo imenikumbusha kitu Daisy. Even beyond our friends shaming us, we also carry this shame ourselves. I just thought about a situation where I opened my bag in public and I had my pad to Apoivo. And I remember closing my bag so fast.
Oh my god.
Saki aone mtu aone pad yangu. And then it hit me at your
Why am
big
I
age.
embarrassed?
That's my big age I'm embarrassed about, and it's because nime consume so much of that it's supposed to be silent and seen and nobody's supposed to know about it. So I close my bag and I'm like, mbona nifunga bag yangu hivyo? Kwani nianyeshi?
Fungua.
Nikafungua.
Mwambie kushikia mkoba yako.
Nikafungua nataka nini? Si unakuwa nataka something from my bag. You want something from my bag? No. This is my bag.
Yeah, so I feel like having questions such as this elicit the kind of emotions that I've felt right now vile nimeaddress the issue. I don't know. I feel like it's not fair for another person to feel vile mi nilikuwa na
Yeah,
feel ile
it's
siku.
not.
It's a real, it sucks.
Yeah,
it really
it
sucks,
does.
you know?
Yeah,
And
it's
to
so
think
bad.
that you're also a girl, you're shaming me na we pia ni dem na unanyesha bro. I don't understand. But yeah, let's just eliminate the shame and talk about these things, yeah?
Yeah.
So producer ameniambia tuko na dakika kidogo.
Yeah.
So we're
Muda
going
umewadia.
Muda umewadia.
Umetupa kisogo.
Muda umewadia. Kisogo gani? Kuandika tuone.
Calm down, calm down, calm down. The shots are continuous. The shots are continuous.
Sawa basi. So I think we can skim through these three questions on product options when you're on your periods and sustainability of these products. We can also touch on health issues and how these issues are often ignored. And we can also talk about how we can forge forward with the issue of menstrual education.
Yeah.
So we can start with product options. So I feel like, okay, it is common knowledge. Saizi, like kitambo, it was limited. Today, we have a wide variety of products you can use. You can use pads, we can use tampons, we can use menstrual cups, we can use
Menstrual and you have the
the menstrual underwear.
Yeah.
We can also use the menstrual.
yeah, period panties.
Period panties is the word actually. We can use period panties. There's also those sustainable pads in it. Those ones made out of cloth. You can use them.
Yeah.
I think these are two for now.
For
So
now, yeah.
which is, I feel like it's a wide selection. Like it's satisfactory for each and every demographic. If you can't use pads, you can use tampons. If you can't use tampons, you can use the
period
other
cups,
one. You
yeah.
know, there's variety, but still, kuna venye. I don't think some of these products are really sustainable, because tell me why. Especially in hizo mashule za nini, high school where unapata, I don't know, it's very disgusting when I think back at it, but people do not know how to dispose their sanitary towels.
Yeah.
So unaenda kwa toilet unapata
Nini imejaa?
ndo hii rento kilapa but
Imejaa.
no,
Or
weka hapa.
rento kili
Hapa,
imejaa.
ndo hii hapa but unaweka hapa,
Rent
you
kili
know?
imejaa hadi na overflow.
That's the thing. That's the thing. So I feel like
Mshiko na
Vivi, I feel like hiyo ni part of neglecting that side of educating the girls, because I mean, when you teach me how to weka a pad on my panty, you also have to teach me how to dispose of this pad, you know, especially kama si reusable.
Yeah.
You have to actually teach me how to tie it and fold it and tupa it, you know. So I feel like when you dedicate yourself to educating these people about how to use these tampons, how to use easy vitu zingine, you teach them how to use it and how to dispose of it.
Yeah,
right?
because when it comes to the reusable ones, I think people's constant fear is how will they properly, because blood is still a
Biohazard,
how
true.
will you still clean it and be hygienic while handling a biohazard? So that's why people steer away so much from the
Reusable
reusables,
products.
because you don't know, they also don't know how to deal with how. So imagine they can't just dispose of something, it's hard. Now imagine having to clean it
Clean it
and
all
be
the
hygienic
time.
with it.
Yeah.
tit for tat.
I feel like with the reusable, like you really have to be very clean.
Yeah.
Uh,
And on top of it, like if you know, if with reusables you have to have multiple options. You
Yeah.
can't have just that one
You-
menstrual
no,
cup.
yeah,
You have
you
to have
have-
like 6 or 7.
yeah.
So now ukiamua ni saa ya kuclean.
Unaweza clean na kuna yenye
Yes,
Umebaki
yes.
nayo, exactly.
Yeah, you have to have multiple
Huwezi
ones.
kuwa
Yeah.
tu na cup
Moja,
moja.
yeah, you
Sasa
can't.
utafanya nini?
But do you feel like easy options zote, I mean, obviously not all the options are safe. Kwanza ocha tu to cut across the board. Blood is a biohazard, sindio? So ukikaa nayo for long, I mean uko at risk ya kupata hiyo toxic shock
Yeah.
syndrome, nini. But when it comes to specifics, kuna some brands of sanitary towels zenye ukitumia unashikwa na infection, unashikwa na rashes,
Rash, yeah.
nini. When it comes to tampons, there are women who are not comfortable with inserting things up their cushions, you
Yeah.
know. When it comes to period panties, again toxic shock syndrome, cause sasa na hiyo biohazard, you can't keep washing it all the time, pia utachoka, you know.
And then you
And
have
it's
to
not
change
really it's not
Yeah.
a pleasant experience because unashika blood.
Yeah.
It's not a pleasant experience.
And then you have to change them. Like from what I learned is it's not like a one-time investment. You have to continuously. Kabla you change your toothbrush, you change your period panty.
But I feel like easy options zenye ni reusable, they really uphold the sustainability part,
Yeah.
because even when you're broke, you still have that period
Yeah,
panty in
yeah.
your drawer, you know. Na
Yeah.
waste, hakuna kudispose of plastic and polluting the environment. So I think it's really important to strike a balance between affordability and sustainability,
Yeah.
such that we are able to provide products that are affordable and are sustainable for the environment.
Yeah.
That is true.
True. Period. Mwalimu, I'd like to echo what you have said.
Okay, so hata tumesha, I think kwa hii topic ya product options and sustainability, we've already covered the pros and cons and the affordability part and eco-conscious part, where we have to like look out for the environment as well. Sindio, I think we're almost coming to a close. We just have to discuss health issues around menstrual health and how they're often ignored. So would you like to touch on that?
I'll talk about
Madam Science.
I'll talk about kuna 3 health issues. I'll talk about one yenye I know a lot about it. So kuna fibroids, kuna endometriosis. I know you guys know about it. Yeah. And then there's PMDD. PMDD is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. I remember at some point in our conversation, Cecilia talked about people who are highly neurotic and the way they get like very depressed during their periods. So there's actually a disorder, a mood disorder, iko kwa book ya mental health, DSM, iko hapo. It's a mood disorder called premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So during this time, you get extreme feelings of depression, anxiety. Na for you to be diagnosed with this disorder, lazima ikuwe ina affect your day-to-day activities. Yeah. So there has to be a physical symptom and mental symptom, na lazima ikuwe ina ku incapacitate ndio ukwe diagnosed with it. And for people who have like bipolar disorder, people who have ADHD, people who have been diagnosed with depression, wako prone to getting this thing, and it actually starts like 2 weeks to your period. Like I have PMDD.
You have like a rough
During your ovulation.
No, not during just after ovulation. 2 weeks to my period, I'm dead. Like, and it's
You
so
feel
bad.
more depressed.
I feel more depressed. I feel more anxious, and like it's not like a feeling. It's unasikia ni kama una cheesy for real.
your brain inakuattack.
And then when you get your period, inashuka.
Also, your period is your relief.
Yeah, period ikianza, the symptoms go down. Yeah. So for you to have PMDD, you need to have a physical symptom. Like when you start your periods, kuna kwanga na breast tenderness. Nini ingine? Tunakwanga na nini ingine? Back pain.
With swollen breasts.
no like unaweza jidiagnose juu ukikuwa na tuseme normal PMS is back pain ama nyie mnanga back pain. Kuna konga na back pain, breast tenderness.
Kuna back pain.
I know kale
kuna back pain, kuna back pain, kuna mild cramps, kuna yo fever feeling
irritability. So that's PMS, ndio, that's PMS.
So our director crew ameshangaa kujuma.
So PMDD is like a magnified PMS.
Oh,
when you feel during PMS.
So your back pain is like
magnified. Your irritability is magnified. Your boobs are
super swollen.
And then after 2 weeks before, you mnanzanga PMS how long?
A week before my period.
PMDD starts like 2 weeks before, and it's so crazy. And I feel like ukitry kuambia mtu I have PMDD and akwambia nini?
Hiyo ni too complex.
Wewe unajiwekea vitu unaona. So yeah, I feel like PMDD is something that most women don't even know about it. Hawajui wako nayo. And it's mental. It's actually a mood disorder associated with your period. So like your period makes you crazy. Kulikuwa na a research.
Mwili wako inakuwa na cheesy.
I was reading a research that women are highly likely to murder someone during their PMDD. Ukienda majuu unaweza plead insanity during that time.
Because it's recognized in the book.
Yeah, it's recognized
as a mental health, an actual mental health
issue. It's recognized as a mental health
issue.
When I recognize. So yeah. So PMDD is something. So if you experience severe
thoughts,
severe PMS, you should like look into it. Go visit your guy and akusaidia. And then one thing that improves it is your diet. So if you know you have PMDD or you're likely to get it, diet itakusaidia. Eat a lot of protein, magnesium is so important for
chocolate na chia seeds.
Chia seeds na mboga and sometimes get supplements if you can. There's a time I had like really low magnesium. Hadi when I went to the hospital they had to admit me for that. So I was like kumbe hizi ma PMDD zangu ni zina magnesium. So yeah, diet can really help. And also just ukwe sawa. Just know if you know you have it, it's easier to manage something that you know you have it. Yeah.
Shalom is blowing my mind, guys.
Me too. I'm so mind blowing.
Spinach.
And I think Cecilia. So I mean, bottom line ni be close to your gynecologist. If you want to identify if you have health issues surrounding menstrual health, you need to see your OB-GYN. See your OB-GYN as frequently as possible. Get your pap smears. Get your cancer screenings.
Pap smears a whole other
everything. Do everything. And I don't
think men know what a pap smear is.
I mean, it's safer to know. It's really safe to know than to live in ignorance. Really, ignorance is bliss because I mean, when you have so much information, now you have so much anxiety, but you'd rather know than ignore.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I feel like this has been a very fruitful conversation, and I'm really glad we've had it just to honor Women's Menstrual Health Month. It's important to educate people on how they can sensitize themselves, how they can familiarize themselves with feminine experiences so that they are not new to you when you have your own person or when you're close to another woman. See, like at least tukue on the nose. See ati nikisema niko na cramps unasema ambulance.
Sanidu
ambulance. Kama unauliza sautadu nakupiga bare.
We
sautadu. You know,
PMDD yote.
Hiyo ni ignorance, by the way. That is ignorance. So ni heri ulearn a thing or two about how my body works so that if I need something I'm comfortable kukwambia. See ati,
I'm not explaining.
Now I'm hiding in my shell. I'm suffering, I'm crying, I'm sweating, niko na butt pains. My boobs are so Oh my god. And siwezi kuambia. You know, okay.
Hiyo ni shida zenye si relate. But back pain na get.
Cecilia.
I have a
Oh
back,
my god.
I promise.
Oh my god. This girl. So yeah, I feel like it's important to familiarize with these issues. Do not be afraid to learn. Do not be afraid to educate. If you know something and you see your friend hajui, be willing to educate. And kama unajua haujui, be open to learn, because I don't think learning ever stops. New issues will always come up every day, every day, every day. So you need to be naitwaje kukua chap chap, you need to be on toes.
Yeah.
You need to be
Chap chap.
willing to learn every step of the way, you know.
Yeah.
So it's important to just get yourself on the know. And I'm happy that we've gotten to talk about this.
Yeah, so am
Kwa hii
I.
podcast.
Yeah.
Sindio?
Yeah,
I'm really
this
happy
is
that
nice.
and I hope our audience mnajua, if you're a woman, you are valued, you are seen, most
Yes.
importantly,
And you are clean.
seen. We see you and you are clean. Oh, lakini uoge.
No woga.
Uoge though. Kuoga, enda uoge. You know, ukwe tu clean, keep your hygiene ikwe mzuri, shower as frequently as possible, change your pads. You know, it's really strange, not strange per se, but it's really weird. It's really shocking that we still have to remind people to change their sanitary towels 3 times a day or 4 times a day, depending on your flow. You know, shower twice a day. Do not touch your pad hapo katikati with your fingers because germs, you know.
Biohazard.
So I don't know, read books, tumia
Educate
Google, ndo hii chat GPT hapa, tumia chat GPT, just educate yourself, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was all. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for
We've
having
had such a good
us.
discussion. We love you guys and bye.
Ciao.
Yeah.